What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nash, and this is going to be a story time. I think this is the first on the channel, but I'm going to be talking about how I became the youngest intern at a tech startup company when I was in high school. I believe I was 16 or 17. Yeah, so I actually found the letter that I wrote to the CEO of that company, and once he read it, he let me be an intern. And the company had about 7 to 10 people, I believe, and some of them were college grads, and some were older people that were co-founders of that company. And I worked directly with the CEO himself, and we're still cool to this day, right? So, and I was very young when I interned in that company. So just to take you back to where it all began, right? How did I get interested in tech? So back in high school, this was sophomore year in high school. I used to skip lunch to go read in the library. And one day I came across a book that was an intro to HTML and CSS. So HTML is what is the skeleton of, what builds a website. And then CSS, makes it look beautiful. You can add colors, you can add animations, you can add a whole bunch of things. And then later on, I found a book on JavaScript. That was over. Like that was like the greatest thing I ever discovered. So I got this. I checked this book out from the library, and I'm starting to I'm like, this is a different language, and they're telling me that I can design a website. So I go home. I remember we had one computer at home, me and my brother. It was a laptop, and we take turns. And when it was my turn, instead of doing my homework, I was practicing my HTML. Right, I was doing it in Notepad because it was free. That's a program you can use to program in. So I was practicing in C++. Started off with HTML, got really good at it. That was pretty fun, and then I started learning CSS. That's when things became more fun because now you get to see, you bring a website to life. And I think there were some websites where you could kind of like copy code, and I added to your to Notepad++ to build your own website. So I was experimenting with all these things, and I became really good at HTML and CSS. And then later on, I found a book on JavaScript at the library, and I did the same thing again. I was learning a lot. I remember I must have built about over 20 different websites. They were just projects that I was doing after school instead of doing my homework. I remember I would have to do my homework at school in the morning because instead of using the computer to do homework, I was practicing how to program in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All right, so after building 20 plus different websites, I felt like I knew everything about HTML and CSS. You could, give me a test. I remember I used to take exams online on, quizzes on HTML and CSS. I would get 100% all the time. So I felt like I knew everything. So I was looking for something else to learn. So I started learning Java. And this was a different type of beast. This was a game changer. I remember one of the ways I was learning was watching YouTube videos. I think there was a guy, his name was The New Boston. I think he still makes YouTube videos. I used to watch his videos. I remember instead of doing my homework, I would go watch his tutorials and practice. And then, after when I would go to school, I would skip lunch. I'd go to the library to use the computer, and I would practice how to program in Java. And, I got really good at it. I wasn't an expert, but that's all I was doing day and night. When I was not doing my homework, I was programming in Java. When I was not at lunch, I was in the library using the library computer to program in Java. I remember I used to keep the program that I was using, the IED that I was using to program in or to translate the code into, actual stuff. I used to keep it in a USB drive. So if I go to the library, I would just plug it in my USB drive and I would just keep going. I go home, go on the laptop, plug in my USB drive, or just keep coding. So I was really obsessed with this. I got really good at Java. And then what happened was my junior year in high school, or is it? Yeah, it was junior year in high school. That's when there was an initiative to make high school students learn how to program, right? That's when tech was becoming more popular when I was a junior in high school. So I remember my school had a class which was how to program in Java, right? So I took that class. Obviously, I signed up for it when the semester started. It was a bunch of kids that signed up for the class as well. Now, the interesting thing about this class was that the person that was teaching the class, he was a coach. He was a soccer coach and a track coach And as he was teaching this class, he was learning as well, right? He was learning how to program as he was teaching this class. So we were using this textbook, and there's a story about this which I'm going to tell you later. It was called the Blue Pelican Java. So you can even look this up. It's a great textbook. I'm not no, it's not sponsored because they tried to sue me one time. So that's a different story. But it's called the Blue Pelican Java. That's the textbook we were using in high school. So this textbook would teach you how to do something, like how to do write a hello world program in Java, right? And it would teach you how to do it, but then the end of the chapter there would be an exercise: build a program that does this, right? And then there would be an exam at the or like a quiz at the end of the chapter. So there was an exercise and an exam or a quiz at the end of the chapter. So the professor or the high school teacher who was a coach, the night before the before class, I guess he would learn the chapter, and he would come to class the next day and teach what he just learned, right? And he was doing a really good job actually. And I had been programming in Java 24/7 practically. And, that's all I was doing. And I felt like an expert. So he would ask questions in class, and I was the first one to raise my hand. Like, I know the answer. I'm like, actually, this. Like, he was like, how do you know that? We haven't learned that yet. And then after class one day, he said, can you stay behind? I want to talk to you. And he was asking me, I was like, oh, I've actually been doing this for a while, and I actually know how to do this, and that. And he was like, wow. So he started asking me questions. Maybe in class he'd be like, Nash, can you come up and demonstrate how to do this? I was like really having fun in this class. So a lot of the students started to notice that I was really good at this, right? So the class itself was a computer lab. So he would teach in front of the class, and then when we get to the end of the chapter, he'd say, everyone go to your computers and write a program that does this, but we can collaborate, right? That was the whole point of doing that. So everyone will be behind me asking, hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? Since I was really good at it. And it was a lot of people. And the class had about 20, maybe a little over 20 students that were in the class. And, people started not being able to finish their projects on time because I was helping this person, and maybe you were at the end of the line, then I wouldn't get to you before the due date, and then they'll get in trouble. So I came up with a smart idea. I've always been a businessman, right? I was like, what if I went through this textbook, the Blue Pelican Java, and I looked at every exercise where it says build a program that does this, and I screen record myself on my computer at home, and I post it on YouTube, right, for each chapter. So I started doing that. I did that within a week. I finished the entire book, right? I would say the videos were labeled as chapter one, or Blue Pelican Java, chapter one, how to build Hello World program. And I would just screen record myself, fast forward it when I was editing, and then post the video, right? So once I posted the video, the next day, I'd go to class. Now we're doing a different lesson, and then it's time to write the program. Instead of them coming to ask me like, "Hey, go to my channel." I think it was called Crazy Whiz. That's what I called the channel back in the day. And so everyone was sitting on their computer in class watching Crazy Whiz YouTube channel on the lesson. I said, "Don't tell the teacher." All right, so the class was only for a semester. After the semester, the class got really popular, right? So there was a new students that were taking the class as well, and they started watching the videos as well because then I never took them down, right? And more students keep watching that, and then I guess other people on the internet, since it's public, they were starting to watch that because I think that was a textbook that a lot of these schools that were teaching Java were using. These videos started getting hundreds of thousands of views, right? And then my channel gets monetized on YouTube. Now I start making money on YouTube. I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. Now this is getting a little scary now. I'm making money on YouTube. I'm like, you know what? Let me double down. So I start like doing, spin-off videos, but using the same textbook, right? So I would say Blue Pelican Java, this and that. So like if someone is looking for that, they can see the other videos. So, the videos were getting hundreds of thousands of views, but then after a little while, I received an email. It was from the publishers or owners of the Blue Pelican Java. They were basically asking me to take down all the videos because it was copyright infringement, and they were gonna sue me if I didn't do it. That same night, I was so scared that I deleted all the videos. When I went back to school, the people that knew that I owned the channel, it's like, what happened to the videos? Now we're gonna fail the class. We're gonna fail the class. The coach found out that I was making those videos that were really helpful to people. He started telling other teachers, right? Did you know that this kid he was the owner of this YouTube that was, that everyone was using to pass all of the exercises and things like that? He was like, I was even watching it to teach the class to know how to to know what to say in class, how what to show the students in class. I was watching it too because I was the only one on YouTube that was posting videos that were tailored to that specific textbook. Now, there was this one specific teacher, I'll never forget her. She was my physics teacher. She wasn't even my teacher. She was one of the physics teachers that was friends with my physics teacher. So she found out, she came to my class one day. Remember, I was it was right after lunch, and then she was like, "Can I talk to you outside?" I thought I was in trouble. And she was like, "Oh, I heard you were making these videos, and then, you're really good at programming." My sister actually works at a startup company that, is building, different softwares using Java and other languages. I think they were using Ruby on Rails. At the time, they were just doing a lot of cool stuff. They're like, I think it would be really good for you, right? Since you are so smart that you're using your skill to help students cheat, to cheat class, to cheat these lessons. I think you would be challenged, if you went to work for this startup. But I can ask my sister to see if she can put in a good word. I was like, yes, I would love to do that. I was like, I'm gonna have my first job. It was unpaid, by the way. So, she asked me, she talked to her sister. The next day she came back to my class during the same time. And she was like, so my sister recommended that you write a letter to the CEO of that company. I'm gonna read the letter to you guys that I wrote to that CEO. You can even see the timestamp on here. This was in 2016. So I start off by introducing myself, saying that my name is Nash and I'm a junior at East Central High School with plans to attend college after high school. During an early age, I developed an interest in computers. I've always been fascinated with how they worked and why they seem to be smarter than the average human being. Through the years, I've perfected my skill in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These languages allow me to design websites and provide assistance to people that needed help. For the past 2 years, I've been learning Java. Java is one of the best programming languages that I've learned so far. I've created a number of Java programs specifically based off formulas. The last 3 months, I have been also learning C Sharp, which I find to be a powerful language. In C Sharp, I designed an artificial intelligence program that takes voice commands in order to perform computer tasks such as opening a web browser, files, programs installed on the computer, and it also replies to commands by using a custom voice. Computer science / programming as a whole is something that I do to express my creativity, and in that process I enjoy learning new programming languages. As a high school junior, my access to certain information and resources is extremely limited. I am looking for any opportunity that will help me explore different ways to apply and expand my knowledge. I'm very curious. I'm a very curious individual, always willing and expecting to learn something new every day. I'm also a self-starter and have learned many programming languages without much guidance. I'm looking for new challenges. I would like a chance to watch and learn from the people who have the same love for computers and coding like me. I've read about your company online and I'm very interested in the work that your developers do. I would greatly appreciate any assistance your company can give me to expand my knowledge base. I know that if I'm given the opportunity to intern for your company with expert guidance and your company can provide and with expert guidance that your company can provide, my opportunities will be limitless. You can see that I was writing run-on sentences here. Thank you once again for providing any student with a chance to enhance their computer programming skills. All right, so as you can see, that looks like, high school language. And I wrote that letter. I didn't even edit the letter. I gave it to my high school to that teacher, and she gave it to her sister. His sister gave it to the CEO. So he read the letter and he liked it. And that summer, I was invited to go intern at that company, which was really cool. It was one. I would tell you that it was scary because I used to be very very skinny and tiny when I was in high school. So imagine a tiny little guy, right? And I'm showing up to the office. I remember the first day I arrived 30 minutes early, right? So the CEO wasn't even there. Nobody knew that I was coming to intern. So they're like, "Are you lost? Are you looking for someone? Did you lose your mummy?" They were asking me if I needed them to call someone if I was lost or something. And I was like, "No, I think I'm at the right place." And I remember specifically, I asked for the CEO's name. They're like, "Oh, okay, you can come in and just sit here until he comes in." And I was sitting there nervous, and I could see them, come out to see like there's a kid that says he's an intern, and they were so surprised. They'll come in and introduce themselves. They're like, "So you're gonna be an intern?" I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna be an intern here." And finally, the CEO comes in, and he walks me through the whole operation that they had, the projects that they were working on. At the time they were working on a really, really big project for AT&T. They were building custom software for AT&T, and T, and they wanted someone who would, just do the boring stuff that programmers don't want to do. So, and that was me, and I had enough knowledge to learn. And I remember, for part of the program, they were using Ruby, the language Ruby, and I had to learn how to do that, and I learned that so quickly. And I remember, since I was not getting paid for this internship, the CEO he bought me a domain, right? Because I wanted to build a website where I taught people how to program in Java, in HTML and CSS, and he bought me a domain. I think I had it for years. He was paying for it every year, but he bought me a domain. That was my I guess that was my intern pay. Him purchasing the domain for me, and it was live. I was posting on it. I created a website where I would teach people how to program in HTML and CSS, which was very interesting. And then so I was doing this for about a few months. It was maybe 2 months or so. I was going there every single day. I was there super early. I was leaving whenever the CEO left. The cool thing is they were buying me lunch. They were buying me breakfast if I got there early. Even though I wasn't getting paid, I was having so much fun. And they were, most of the employees were college grads, and they were just teaching me about, you can actually write this program this way, and you can actually, structure your code this way. This is how you can naming convention. This is how you know how to do this. I was just having a blast. I was just a kid having a blast. Now, after a while, whenever the project was over, right, now they had to go back to the table with the company that they were building the software for to, they were gonna talk about, some of the pricing and some of the things they could do as add-ons and how they can, you know, essentially they're looking to, upsell, that to upsell the program to add more things so they can make more money. Now, I'll tell you this specific thing that that CEO told me. He was like, "Nash, do you like business?" And I was like, "I love to. The only thing I know is computer programming, and that's what I want to do forever." And he was like, "I think you'd like business, right?" And because he knew about, how in high school I had started, filming YouTube videos showing people how to how to program in Java using a specific textbook, and and how I started making money off of that on YouTube, and then how I got a copyright takedown notice. He was like, "This is such a fascinating story. I think you do really good in business." And it was my last day of the internship. And then he said, "I'm going to go negotiate with this company." So he told me to just sit and listen. So I did that. I sat there and I listened. He was negotiating how much they were going to get paid for, customizing some software, adding some add-ons. And I can tell you that at the end of the negotiation, the deal was a multi-million dollar deal that they closed. And after that, he looked at me and said, "Now that's business right there." So there's programming, and then there's the business aspect of it, right? And you got to know how to handle the business aspect of it if you want to be a CEO one day. And that's when I said, I want to go into accounting or finance. And that's how I changed. So I was so good at programming in high school. I was learning C sharp. I was learning all types of programming languages I could get my hands on because I thought they were so interesting. And when I got to that point, when I set in on that call, that business call, where they were negotiating a multi-million dollar deal, and he said, "That's business. That's how you become the CEO. You can be a great programmer, and but then you can also add business to it, business skills to it. You're gonna be unstoppable." And that's when I said, I'm gonna go into business. And that's how I ended up as a finance major. Actually, I started off as an accounting major and switched over to finance when I realized that accounting was so boring. So I switched over to finance. And now I work in finance. And yeah, so that was story time. You know, I don't really get to tell you guys stories, but I want to do more of these. Let me know if you guys want to hear some stories of my 24 years of life. Let me know if what you guys think. If you have any similar stories, yeah, let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next one.